Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this is a kind of semi-series that I do. I go over wrestling products, like especially like the TV shows, and just kind of explain what I would do to, fix them or make them better. Obviously, this is my opinion, and there's plenty of the stuff I'm going to say probably people aren't going to agree with, but I think some of this is valid to help shows out, especially because stuff can get stale very fast, and like storyline and stuff and feuds, all of those are hard to write sometimes. So keeping everything else that's like tight inside of it, I think works numbers on it, because like there's so much stuff you can do to make a show better without actually having to improve the story, which is always a good thing because some of these just stories just don't always hit the way that you want them to. And I think a lot of the WWE product in the last year has definitely figured that out. So we're talking about Evolve today. It's one of my favorite shows to review. It's pretty much the one wrestling product that I can say that I have watched every single episode this year, every single match, almost every single segment, everything. I watched all of the episodes this year. I've reviewed all of the episodes. I've done multiple outside videos talking about the wrestlers on this, and yes, there is a lot to go here. So we're going to talk about things that I would do to fix Evolve. Right off the bat, the easiest thing that is not necessarily good for Evolve, but just good for the general population of the landscape of wrestling, is they need to move Kendall Gray and Callie Armstrong to NXT. Those two are just too phenomenal to be on this show. I love this show. I love them on this show, but they both need to be working more on NXT, which we obviously have seen Kendall Gray over there. Callie Armstrong's already made some appearances, but the both of those should automatically be up there, because I think one of the big things that they talk about is that like we know that there's going to be certain people moving around and there's always going to be stuff, but those two have like hit it out of the park. Some of the guys are pretty close to it, like I think Jack Hartwell, Cappuccino Jones, Jackson Drake, all any of those guys could easily get the call up. Even Swipe Right, I think any of those could easily get the call up to NXT also. But I think the women on those sides, it's perfect to go. And I think if you're going to do stuff like that, I would try to bring what you would perceive as the bottom of NXT down a little bit, let two people like take their spots. Me personally, I'm trying to think of who exactly I would put down here, because there's not a lot of people on the NXT women's roster that needs that. I feel like Lainey Reed could definitely use a match down here. I wouldn't move her down here because like she's great in Fatal Influence, but I think a good match where she dominates somebody down there. I think Carmen Petrovic, who's kind of already on Evolve, would be a perfect candidate. Ariana Grace, which we've seen here too. Like all those people are already in that Evolve matrix, so I wouldn't really say they need to come down here because they're already here. So I think I wouldn't really necessarily have to add anybody because the LFG program. But I also think that's another thing that they should do. I think they should do a match on LFG or show the Evolve thing, because that's the reality of the show. If you win the show, you get a contract to NXT and you're on NXT. If you get like second or third, you're probably gonna make it to Evolve. And like that's a whole nother ball game that they just don't even talk about. Like there should be some type of show or like episode that shows Evolve, or they have a match on Evolve, like a showcase match or something. Just something that ties in another show. That's the thing I never understand about like wrestling or just almost any product out there. That is like sometimes when you have multiple products that have tie-ins and they don't do it. Like games are like that sometimes. Like every once in a while, yeah, they'll have a crossover event, but a lot of the times they don't, and it makes no sense. This is that prime example, because they could tie them in by having a match that appears on LFG or like is set up on LFG to then debut on Evolve, and it'd have that storyline. Everything would work really well, and it's a live audience, and it's really sink or swim, because the ones a lot of the times where they show it on Evolve or on LFG, they only show like little highlights of it. They show like maybe 30 to 45 seconds of the match. But if we had to see a full 5 minute match out there, we could probably see a lot more if somebody is a little bit needing the help or not. Plus, it's just an extra eyes on the product. It's two different products. People will then, hey, what's LFG? Look at LFG. What's Evolve? Look at Evolve. Bam, you just now got more eyes on your product that people don't understand, because there's so many people that I talk to that only watch Raw. Sometimes I only watch Raw and SmackDown. Maybe some people watch NXT, but then like you just keep dwindling it down. People just don't watch all the products and don't know that, just like, oh, this person came out of nowhere. This is so cool. Well, you could have saw them coming, with seeing this type of stuff. Another big thing that I'd add, this is a no-brainer and should really not be an argument. The only argument would be like if Tubi just does not allow it. But again, this is a streaming platform. Add 10 minutes to the show. You think about like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. No, it is a big deal when you think about it, because every match that Evolve has always suffers from the same issue of it being too short. If you gave 10 minutes of match time, like, and spread it out, because I personally think the best shows have 3 matches. Sometimes you could fit in a nice 4 match, but they're just way too short. They just have that ability to be just a couple minutes short. And I think if you did this and added 10 minutes of match time, because I don't feel like the promos need to be cut. I think the promos is kind of the thing that people want to work on with a lot of these guys, because they might not have anything that, they might have great in ring work, but have no time on the mic and never been on the mic. So this is important. So the 10 minutes of match time is just honest, or it's just honestly probably one of the best decisions that they can do. I only would say the only reason why they can't do it is because Tubi wants at a perfect time, but most of the time they have a rough time. It's like 51 minutes, 50 minutes. Sometimes they finish. If you just gave them that full 60 minutes, or even if it's 60-10, trust me, this is what matters. This is the only thing that matters in the entire world, is that you get those extra minutes to those guys. Another thing, which feels like a no-brainer, they've teased it a lot, but the hottest, biggest division on Evolve is the men's tag team division. That should have a belt. I mean, we have 2 belts, and when you really think about it and you look at like how they're defended, it sometimes takes about 4 to 5 weeks before they get a title match or they figure out what they're doing. If you have another title that does that and you keep that same pacing, there's going to be a lot of weeks where you're going to have just shows that could be kind of headlined by a title match. And that makes it so much easier for the writing, because some of the writing that they've had on their feuds have been okay, but like if you have that title in it, we got the teams for it. You got Cappuccino Jones, Jack Cartwheel as Adrenaline Drip. You got the blue chip prospects. I don't even know what they call them, but you got just 2 big teams right there, and a bunch of other guys that have been kind of pairing off, and so much more that they can do. Plus, that gets 4 guys out there in a match, compared to having just a normal singles match, because most of the matches, the tag matches or singles matches, last around the same amount of time, so it doesn't change the timing. You just all of a sudden got 2 more guys, more screen time. And like, obviously you should do that with the women too, but they haven't built it yet. I rather them just build what they're doing, because if you really think about it, like the men's division has like a solid top 5, but the women's division across the board is just consistently there. Like, they do what they need to do, and everything that, like, when you watch the matches, you're like, they're doing what they need to do. And yeah, those are just some small things that I would do to fix Evolve. Like, I think the other big thing that they worked really well through the first couple episodes, well, I say couple, 40 episodes ish, is having that like GM personality, that general manager, that, or like, boss. Bring that back. Stevie Turner did great with it. It's just such an easy storytelling thing to use, to be like, well, this person says this, or I don't like this person, or this person likes me. It is so easy. I know Ariana Grace would be perfect for this, but I don't know if they're going to use her, because she's been doing a lot of NXT stuff. That's perfectly fine if you don't want to use Ariana Grace. But how they used Ava doing this in NXT, and it worked great. And I say, like, Stevie Turner did great. Just use somebody that maybe is on the outside looking in. Even if they just wanted to use Robert Stone as being the person, because it would definitely change the thing, or even just have a rotationary thing. You could even have it the 2 commentary people who have pretty good chemistry and that good back and forth of being like heel and face. They could even have teams to pick who gets to be the GM for a couple days or for a couple shows, because I know they have like the show coming up where the performance talent gets to pick the show, but they need that person. They need one person in there. And I don't care who it is, as long as it's not somebody that's going to be like a full-time wrestler. I think it's going to work perfectly. Also, I like I said, I think they need to have a little bit more highlights, which they've done really good by bringing the Evolve titles to NXT to show them off. I think that worked out great. And I also think that like last year when we had the Succession event, which was kind of felt like a little PLE, they definitely need to bring that back, but I would kind of bring them up as like seasonal things. I think there should be like 4 in the year. Nothing too crazy. Maybe make it an hour-and-a-half show if they're really going to feel spicy about it. If not, just make it an hour and have like all the titles be defended. Just make those little bad boys in between all that, because it really doesn't change anything, because it's just basically an episode, but they seem to really have gotten like a big jump by doing that. But yeah, that's basically what I would feel to fix Evolve. I honestly think it's a good product. It's a developmental product, so like it doesn't need a lot of fixing because it just is there to help elevate people. But you can do a few things, like I just said, to really just jumpstart it. All of the ideas I said literally would take about 10-15 minutes to implement, and I think a lot of it would instantly make the entire brand better. So tell me what you guys think if you watch the show, especially, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.